Mr. and Mrs. Griffin, thank you both for taking the time to come in today. My team and I have spent a significant amount of time putting together today's presentation. And today what I'd like to do is review your recommended financial plan that we both have worked hard to develop. After you've had time to review this plan, we will discuss the implementation process and determine the frequency and responsibilities for monitoring progress on your chosen alternatives. If at any time during this presentation you have questions, please don't hesitate to speak up. To summarize your financial goals and concerns to start, in the order of priority that you listed for us, priority number 1 is funding your children's college education. Priority 2 is reducing debt. Priority 3 is related to long-term retirement goals, which you can see listed here. And finally, taking a look at the appropriate risk management of your portfolio, investment portfolio, as well as your estate planning portfolio. We have prepared your initial financial reports, which are listed here. In addition to the presentation today, you will leave with a documented plan that includes all of these reports. We analyze these reports using our Money Education Financial Planning software. It produced the following 3 reports, which we'll discuss in a little bit more detail at a later time. Based upon our review, we've uncovered the following financial issues that need attention. The first is debt management and increased savings. Second is some issues with the long-term goals that we've identified. Risk management issues related to your level of insurance. Some small issues related to your investment portfolio, as well as some minor issues relative to your estate plan. Again, as we go through these recommendations, be sure to ask for clarification on anything that is not clear to you. So, to transition into our first recommendation based off of our analysis, we're going to recommend quite a bit of debt reduction and debt restructuring. As you can see here, as it's all itemized, we have recommended that you sell some of your assets, which are listed on the left side of the page here, which is going to create $49,018 to pay up debt and free up cash flow for increased savings. And if you see right below that, we're going to use that cash to pay off the following debt obligations that you currently have. This is going to produce savings of $18,393 a year. For debt restructuring, we've done a review of your current mortgage, as well as what current rates are in the market, and we see a huge benefit for you to refinance your primary residence. The details are listed here on the right. We would be able to lower your mortgage interest rate by 2.25%. This would come with a one-time refinance cost of 1.5%. Your current payments would go down from $1,970 a month to $1,336 a month, which translates to a savings of $7,615 a year, or $634 a month. So taking a look at the total savings between the left column and the right column, that translates into an additional $26,000 in savings per year. Any questions about the contents of this slide? All right, great. Okay. To facilitate some of the increased savings needs, we have done a thorough tax analysis, which we will go into in a little bit more detail at a later time, as well as provide you a specific report of our findings. But in summary, we've concluded that you can safely reduce your income tax withholding to $6,600 per year, which will increase cash flows by $8,400 per year. To transition to some of your long-term retirement goals, we've done an analysis of your current situation as well as your long-term goals relative to when you would like to retire and how much income you'd like to have in retirement. Now, I know that we had two goals, one with retirement at age 62 and one with age 65. You'll notice that the secondary goal is the only one listed here, and that is for a reason. The reason is that our analysis has shown us that it's going to be pretty difficult for you to achieve your retirement goal as well as full funding for all three children's private university tuition. And as you can see here, this would require additional savings of approximately $38,000 per year. We do have the retirement and education schedules printed for you as part of your take-home, which go into a little bit more detail as to how we arrived at these numbers. With that being said, taking a look at your goals and what we see is realistically possible, we would recommend that you consider retirement option B, which would be age 65 retirement with an 80% wage replacement option. This would require additional savings of $3,225 per year. The real issue is education funding, and I'm going to spend some time on this because I recognize that this was top priority out of all of the goals. So the first thing that we're going to recommend you do is have a conversation with your grandparents regarding funding the grandchildren's education while they're still working. Based upon the amounts that they're able to provide, along with the possibility of any of the children receiving merit-based scholarships or taking out student loans, we feel that with the amount that you'll be able to save in addition to these two figures, we should be able to cover most or all of the remaining difference. Risk management issues. This is related to insurance. Okay, so we documented that your insurance agent had already recommended that we add a policy for Jackie, which is included in here. We're also recommending that you add an additional policy for John. The numbers are listed here as well as the estimated annual costs. We also know that your insurance agent recommended adding a personal liability policy. We have reviewed that information and agreed that that makes the most sense for you at this time. For auto insurance, we've reviewed your coverage limits and you were below some of the state mandatory requirements for coverage. That information is listed here. Our recommendation is that you increase coverage limits to meet the minimum amounts, and being mindful of your budget, by increasing your deductible from $200 to $2,000, your premiums likely would not increase. With respect to your homeowner's insurance, there's another issue that we uncovered here relative to the amount that you have covered compared with the fair market value of your home. You're currently below the 80% fair market value requirement. An increase in coverage to get you up to the 80% fair market value requirement, we estimate would cost around $200 a year, which is documented in your plan. John, for your disability insurance, we took a look at some of the policy rules and provisions. You are able to increase the elimination period from 30 to 90 days. This would increase the monthly benefit without increasing your monthly or annual costs. That is the recommendation that we have for your disability policy as well. Okay. Estate planning issues. These issues are fairly minor, and the costs that it would take to implement these recommended changes is fairly small. So we recommend that you meet with an estate planning attorney to prepare the following: wills, advanced medical directive, power of attorney for health care, which again, the estimated one-time cost would be $1,000. Here is a summary of the cash flow adjustments that it would take to implement the recommendations. So you'll see additional insurance costs as well as savings costs. This savings, the $10,725, is an increase to John's 401k, new education savings accounts for the children, as well as an annual increase to your emergency fund. We did identify some issues in our ratio analysis relative to how much you have saved versus your monthly fixed costs. We feel that by increasing savings across these three vehicles will better ensure probability of success to both short-term and long-term goals. You can also see the cost savings for the mortgage refi and reducing your withholding, which actually creates a net surplus between cash inflows and cash outflows for all of these recommendations. One-time cash outflows you can see listed here. Estate planning, which we already discussed, is $1,000, and a projected tax refund for 2016 of $8,497. As per your request, we did review your current investment portfolio. Based upon the risk profile questionnaire, we feel that your risk tolerance is moderate, and the percentages recommended for each asset class for a moderate asset allocation is listed here below. So the changes here, while they can seem fairly robust, they're relatively minor in terms of the big picture. John, most of your 401k was in U.S. equities, large cap specifically. And if you see here, all we're ultimately recommending doing is diversifying amongst other major asset classes across domestic and global markets. In summary, the issues addressed were the following: risk management, added a life insurance policy, increased auto and disability, and added a personal liability umbrella policy. We feel that those action items will be adequate to achieve your risk management goals. For estate planning, if we execute the will, advanced medical directive, and durable power of attorney, again, we feel that that will be adequate to achieve your goals or any issues that we've identified in that area. For debt management, we've talked through increasing your savings rate and refinancing your debt. Long-term goals, we did have some issues there, but we did discuss some alternatives. And again, with your investment allocation, we've provided alternatives and discussed other options. So the financial reports that are included in this include your balance sheet and your income statement, which include the effect of our recommendations. The ratio analysis is going to go through things like your emergency fund ratio, as well as assess whether you're adequately insured in areas such as homeowner, auto, life, etc. The three-panel approach is going to take a look at all of this combined and then do projections based off of 1, 3, and 5-year forecasts. And our financial software's projections is, with the recommendations we've included in today's plan, your net worth would increase from today's value of $244,861 to $415,611 in 5 years, as well as dramatically improve your cash flow statement. Currently, as we discussed in our previous meeting, we did identify that we are currently spending more than what's coming in. Within the body of this report, you'll see, that your cash flow has moved into a positive state, and you are running a cash surplus year over year by implementing all of these recommendations. After this meeting, we have detailed our specific recommendations and the related analysis in the reports provided. We would like to meet with you in 2 weeks to address the remaining issues concerning your retirement options. We'd also like you to indicate which recommendations you want to implement and which recommendations you want us to implement, and bring this with you to our next meeting. If we are to implement some of the recommendations, we may need a letter of authorization or to simply have you on the phone with us. Also, given that there are some variables to the education planning, what your parents will be able to provide, we'd like those numbers so we can include them in your final analysis, just to ensure that everything we have documented is accurate. With that, I'd certainly like to open it up to any questions, but in summary, thank you for taking the time to review the plan with us today, and please let us know if you have any additional questions.